winter's grasp loosens on my world, spring bustles in with enthusiasm. Some years winter seems to dawdle and spring slowly saunters in. But this year, spring appears anxious to get started. The air is fresh and full of promise as spring gathers strength and prepares to throw open the windows and dust out the cobwebs left behind in the mind and soul after a long season of winter settling. The forsythia and daffodils are awakening, the trees are budding, and life feels full of hope and promise. The rays of the sun feel powerful and dance mightily in, a reminder that renewal and life from the dead is a glorious and hope-filled message of truth. Today, I'm embracing spring and looking forward to planning out our spring homeschool. Planning does three things for me. It helps me to stay focused and keep from getting distracted. It also helps me not to feel like a failure because I can see how far we've come and where we're going, and I can track our progress. And it also keeps me from being overwhelmed. I have so much information and so many thoughts swirling around in my brain all of the time. And so by taking time to do some planning, getting those thoughts on paper, then I don't have to be so anxious and worried about forgetting something that's really important. I hope you enjoy getting a peek at my spring planning for our 2022 homeschool. If you're new here, welcome to Born for Homeschool. My name is Rachel Bourne, and my husband and I have 4 kiddos ages 2 to 10, and we homeschool the oldest 3. So we have a kindergartner, a 2nd grader, and a 5th grader. And we have been homeschooling all along, so I like to just share tips and tricks, information, and encouragement here at Born for Homeschool that will help you in your homeschooling journey. Spring is upon us, and I'm so excited to spend some time today to plan out some of our spring activities for 2022. So for my homeschooling planning for this spring, I'm going to look at 2 parts for our homeschool. I'm going to look at the academic side of what I want to focus on and finish strong with. And then I also want to focus on the scheduling side. There are certain things that I schedule during the spring that have to happen for us to meet the requirements for our state law. And so I want to make sure that those get scheduled and set ahead of time. So those are the 2 things that I'm going to work on here to start with for our spring planning. All right, so for my thoughts on our homeschool planning for this spring, I want to update our home attendance record, and I really want the focus on the next few months to be on history. And I just did a video where I discussed creating a new habit and the steps that I'm going to take in order to make this into a habit. And so I will put a link in the description box below if you want to check out that video. But I am going to just use those steps to continue to build this habit of working on history and focusing on that this spring. And I also want to make sure that my kindergartner is working on reading every day. And I also want to set my goal for and just have in my mind where I want to be at the end of our school year in our curriculum. So that's our history and our science and math, language arts, spelling, all of those things. I just kind of want to know in my mind where we're going to be in the curriculum, and then decide if it's a curriculum that I'm going to continue into the next year, if it's a curriculum that we're ending and we'll need the next level or something new for this coming year. So I just kind of want to have that thought through, planned out, and just recognize where we are in that. And then as far as scheduling for this spring, our state law has some requirements as far as standardized testing. And so my 5th grader will need to do some testing, and we have evaluations that I need to think about when I would like those to be scheduled for. We have performances and recitals, and then I usually schedule a lot of my kids' annual exams as far as vision and our doctor's visits and our twice a year dental visits. I want to make sure those are either on the calendar or that I get those scheduled for this coming spring. So those are the things that I'm working on planning. All right, so now that I have a better idea as far as what I'm looking at academically for this next spring and what I'm looking at schedule-wise for this next spring, now I'm going to move a little bit into what I want for this summer. So now that I have those things worked through, I also have our testing scheduled and I know when to schedule our evaluations. I know when our performances are and our recitals, and so I can put those all in our calendar and make sure that we don't miss any important dates here in the spring as we finish up our homeschool. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you found value in this video, and if you did, don't forget to like it and subscribe to Born for Homeschool so that you don't miss any of our weekly videos, and I will see you again in my next video.